intense death curse washes over the land, driven by a powerful artifact known as the Soulmonger. 4 would-be heroes have been sent to the jungles of Chult to destroy the cause of this terrible affliction. Vale, the half-elven paladin, who's just now learning of his divinely granted powers. Ubo, the turtle monk from a distant land, who's as quick with his wit as he is with his staff. Brilinya, Aasimar warlock, sent on this quest by her temple, discovering herself in this strange new land. And gunslinger Cole, tiefling artificer and archaeologist who may just dig up more than she bargained for. This motley band of adventurers must work together to brave the poisonous plants, venomous monsters, thundering dinosaurs, and rotting undead of the jungle. Join the omnipotent dungeon master Jake from Mini-Terrain Domain to see if our heroes can find the Soulmonger, uncover the deeper mysteries of Chult, and free the world from the death curse. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to Chult of Personality.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini-Terrain Domain, and this is MTD&D's Chult of Personality, a Tomb of Annihilation Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign with some awesome players that we have been doing for several months now. We are on episode 26. Last week, the stream was interrupted due to my internet apparently decided it was done. So we were kind of in the middle of the session. I'm going to bring everybody in here real quick, and then we are going to do a quick recap of what exactly happened, as much for the player's benefit as for the audience's benefit. And we're going to get rolling. So, first off, before we do that actually, I would like to have each of you introduce yourselves, introduce your character, and go ahead and plug anything you want to plug. And we're going to start with, let's start with Drake this time.
Hey guys, Drake. I run the YouTube channel, The RPG Construct, and I'm half of the Something RPG podcast with Jake here. Nothing to plug this week because I'm having difficulty finishing projects lately. But looking forward to finishing up this session.
Next up, and who are you playing, Drake?
I'm sorry, I'm playing Ubo, the Turtle Sunsoul Monk.
Fantastic. Next up is the one and only Marquise.
What's up, everybody? I'm Marquise. I'm playing Dunala. He's a 1T Shadow Sorcerer. Very shady character, no pun intended. I'm Marquise. I already said that, but I am Marquise. Just say it for a third time in case you want to forget the first 2 times. To plug something would be Scavenger, scavenger.net, scavenger.net. Fantastic setting being built up right now. It started off as an art book, and it's still primarily an art book, but also have setting elements and then mechanics as well. I'm writing for that, so go check it out. Go look at it. It's cool stuff. I'm Marquise.
And who are you playing?
Dunala, who's also Marquise.
Next up, it's Mike. And just go ahead and tell us who you're playing or not when you're done.
Sure. My name is Mike, and I am not Marquise. Or actually, I'm essentially Marquise 2.0. Like Marquise, just better, but not as good looking. So I'll give him that. I run the channel Mike Thepiper. I'm on YouTube. I haven't been doing a lot of YouTubes, but I have been playing with my empire building campaign, the Foundation. Last week we had another session. Things are starting to get political, and we're starting to get what is actually going on. So of course, everyone's freaking out, trying to out best the DM, but little do they know that God. Sorry. Anyway, in the game I'm playing Vale Istafall. It says so right up, there somewhere, and. Looking forward to tonight's session. Maybe I'll even live through the whole episode.
And I was just going to say, well, so far everybody has, but not Gunslinger Cole. R.I.P. And
Megan's face.
last but certainly not least is Megan.
Hey, I'm Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, also one half of the publishing company, also Dice on Ice. We are very inventive with our names. We have a book, a setting supplement called The Ravaged Wasteland of Cryfoth. It is available now on DriveThruRPG, so if you like survival and all that good stuff, then check it out.
And you are playing?
I'm playing Brilinya, a celestial warlock Azamar.
I can't blame you all for forgetting, because we're like 26 episodes in, and this is really the first time I've thrown that at you guys in that way since the beginning. And as I said, I'm Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and I will be playing MTD Jake, the Dungeon Master, in this game. And I'm going to plug real quick this channel. We just wrapped up a couple weeks ago our Sunday night campaign, which Megan was one of the players in, the Bastards of Bastion, which is a Harbinger playtest. Harbinger from Absolute Tabletop, harbingerrpg.com for more information. If you head over to youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain, there is a playlist up there with all 7 episodes available as of right now, so you can watch the whole thing over just a couple days, or you could binge watch it, and for whatever reason, if you want to watch 14 hours of gaming in one day, go for it. And if you want to see more awesome games like this one, like that, can make sure you hit the little follow icon on the channel here, or if you get your Amazon Prime linked to your Twitch, you get a free subscription every month that you could use to subscribe and get a funky little subscriber badge like Megan and I have in the chat, and anybody else that's subscribed. As well as you get some other perks like icons, emoticons, and to be a part of us. I don't know. That's my sales pitch, so I think I just lost subscribers with that. All right, without further ado, I'm going to recap us real quick. We're playing Tomb of Annihilation. We are in Chult. The adventurers have been hired to seek out the cause of the death curse that has plagued all of Faerun. Anybody that has ever died and been resurrected is slowly starting to decay and die, and nobody can resurrect anybody anymore. All resurrection magic has ceased. Sindra Sylvain has hired the party out of Baldur's Gate and transported them to Chult, where they began their investigations and have spent the last roughly 2 weeks in Faerun time, which is almost 20 days, wandering in and around the jungles, dealing with undead, Yuan-ti, some backstabbing guides, and a whole slew of other issues. They had one of their initial members of their party, Gunslinger Cole, was killed along the way. And then they picked up the newer member, Dunala. They have also brought into their midst Moyo, the Commodon celestial steed belonging to the Paladin. The Commodon is basically a leopard with 6 snakes coming off of its shoulders. They've also picked up the Shield Guardian Vorn that was left behind many years before by a long-gone wizard, now controlled by the control amulet that is possessed by Brilinya. Their adventures have taken them through the jungles and kind of getting back on track, or attempting to, after finding out that their guide Salida was secretly a Yuan-ti and was trying to betray them. They have, after Dunala tortured her for the better part of 24 hours, they have taken her to Camp Vengeance. Well, at Camp Vengeance, they met Commander Niles Breakbone, who has insisted that they will be using their services to clear the jungles to the north of Undead on a 2-week patrol. He did not ask, he told them this was the case. Meanwhile, Ubo has discovered that there is another turtle at Camp Vengeance. There's a hospital tent where several people have fallen victim to some of the sicknesses that are around the jungles. And Ubo has gone to visit this turtle to see what she has to say. Meanwhile, Dunala has asked Commander Breakbone if he could have some time alone with the party so they can discuss some things. Salida's fate is still up in the air. And as we are going to pick it back up, the temperature has begun to drop. It's been hot and windless following the storms of a couple days ago. But another cold front seems to be moving through the jungle. Wind is blowing out of the north towards the camp. And the already foul-smelling camp, which Camp Vengeance is a camp that looks like it's frayed around the edges. Everybody is worn, gaunt. As we said, many people are disease-ridden. The conditions are not great. They have been fighting a perpetual battle against undead and all around them. And the burned body piles were some of the first signs that the party was approaching this camp, the scent of undeath and death. And the wind now blows that scent all across the camp. But that smell of sickness and death is already permeating Ubo's nose, as he has been for this past several minutes talking with a frail-looking female turtle by the name of Tielro, who has told him that he needs to come back. She was sent into Chult to look for Ubo, because back home in the snout of Omu, the elders who had lived very long in this world had apparently all seen death on their adventures, and all of them are dying off. And she has said that Ubo must come back to help with the new leadership. And Ubo was expressing how he felt he was only winning by default because everybody was dying. And that's where we're going to pick up where we left off, Ubo, as Tielro is pleading with you. Ubo, you don't understand. We need you. You've been only gone for a few weeks, but you have already seen so much more than those that remain.
And I would just kind of look away, not really wanting to catch eyes with her. And I'd say, I've seen more. I haven't done more. I've barely done anything but what I always do. At least here I have a chance of doing something meaningful. Back home, I'm nothing. I couldn't pass a single trial to get into the order. Why would I go back? Just because I'm not dead?
You are already surviving beyond what the elders are capable. You are still alive and healthy.
What's wrong with you? Why are you dying?
The sicknesses have been plaguing me since I came north. My immune system was not enough to withstand the diseases. Thankfully, you have come after the worst of the throat leeches have passed. But the mad monkey fever, there are insects everywhere. By the time they cure one disease, another settles in.
With that, Ubo would say, I may know someone who can get rid of that. One of my companions, I'm almost sure can. But with regards to what you've said, several weeks ago, I wouldn't hesitate. It was everything I ever wanted. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be just seen. And here I am. And even if it's just me standing between, and he would pause, and he would just look at her. When do you need to know?
You should head back home as soon as you can. I may not be able to survive this. Ubo, and she kind of she's been kind of half turned towards you this whole time, and she kind of looks away a minute, and then she turns back to you, reaches out pale, thin hands, the skin receding from her claws on her hands, to touch your hand, as she says, they don't need to know that you aren't a hero.
That would make Ubo stand up straight, and he was kind of kneeling by the bedside. And he would very sternly and almost sounding pissed off, he would look her square in the eye and he would say, but I need to know. And he would begin taking some steps out of the tent, and he would turn and he would say, I'll send somebody in to help you. I'll think on your proposal. But it matters to me. It doesn't matter. He would just kind of mumble as he walked out of the tent.
She just watches you as you leave. And I'm going to cut over to the others who had just separated as you went into the hospital tent, Ubo. Commander Breakbone had left the others around the fire, where Vale, Dunala, Brilinya, Vorn, the Shield Guardian, Moyo, the Celestial Steed, and the what did they do? Remind me, did you keep Salida with you, or were they taking her to the tent?
I mind spiked her so I could track her, and then they took her away for rest.
That's right. So Salida was in the tent where Ubo's been this whole time. So for a few minutes, you guys, Dunala, you asked to be able to talk with everybody. So we'll turn it over to Dunala.
Dunala has a plan. Now, Vale, I understand you do not want to work with these people. Brilinya, I assume the same of you. Dunala does also not want to work with these people. These people want to waste our time for 2 weeks, and we do not have 2 weeks to spend with them. However, they mentioned two things that are very useful to us. One, they mentioned that if they knew where the lost city of Omu is, they would all leave in an instant to go there. We know where the lost city of Omu is. And the second thing they mentioned was that they are dying of mad monkey fever. Now, you two are foreign. You know not what the monkey fever does. It makes you see things and makes you do things, hence the name Mad Monkey, that are violent, to say the least. It could easily tear this camp apart, and it seems to be just barely contained, threatening to spill out in over a moment. You foreigners have weak immune systems. Not you, Vale, you were chosen by Ubtao, but forgive me, Brilinya, this is true of you and the rest as well. If you've ever had throat leeches, then you may know what I'm talking about. Regardless, Vale, don't make that face, Frank. Vale, you have the ability inside of you, seeded and sown by Ubtao, to cure diseases. These people are looking for someone like yourself, Vale, and they will be willing to do a lot for someone who has your talents and for someone who knows the secrets that we know.
I mean, I could try, but I don't know. I'm not. I mean, I'm not some fancy healer or nothing.
Vale,
I'll see what I can do, but
the important thing, Vale, is that as you tend to these people, you must be sure to tell them that this is a power granted to you by Ubtao. You're not no magician. You're not a cleric or a warlock or even a sorcerer like myself. You're someone who's been chosen. Show these people that the very god of the land itself is willing to help them and earn their loyalty, because you deserve it, Vale.
wait a minute. This sounds a lot less like being a good person and more about a con. I mean, it's not like I haven't. I mean, I may be just a foreigner, but I think I kind of know what's
It's a
going.
con, Vale, only if you cannot heal them.
That's
We
also
don't live in a world where gods are fake. We live in a world where gods are real and are with us. What you're doing is literally the touch of God. I've seen it myself. I've seen it in battle and I've seen it heal people. I know what you can do, Vale. I know the God that is with you. And these people are here in Chult land, and they are dying because they are doing things that the God does not want them to do.
Fine. I'll tell you what then. I'll do the healing, but I'm gonna let you do the talking. I'm not really feeling like just straight up lying to a bunch of folk.
Lying. Vale, you have yet to realize what you really are, but I digress. I will do the talking, as you put it. Brilinya, what do you think of all these matters?
I'm not sure. I think that you may have other intentions in mind. I don't like this.
Brilinya, I will be honest with you because I know you do not trust me. These are my intentions. They are simple. These people, we need their loyalty, we need their supplies, and they need to be helped. We trade one for the other. That is exactly what we are doing. Now, these people will go to Omu regardless, and these people will enslave us and make us work for them regardless. We might as well find a way out of the situation that allows for both parties to get what they want.
Why would we send them to Omu? It's dangerous there.
They themselves say they want to go to Omu. And these foreigners are here specifically to go to Omu for whatever reason. Maybe for plunder, maybe because they already know that the soulmonger is there.
But to make them go under such false pretenses, we need to tell them about the Yonti that are there.
We can tell them about the 1T. I'm not suggesting that we lie to them about what's there. We can tell them that there's 1T there, that there's a city there, but we should not mention the soulmonger because of what Salita said. But telling the 1T there, I think, is fine. But I must also tell you, Brilinya, that letting these people stay here and emotions with one arm and die to these fevers and these throat leeches and these other illnesses is no less cruel a fate than sending them to Omu.
I will help as many people here as I can, but that is all I promise.
That is all I need.
And Brilinya would just kind of nod without another word and just kind of turn to go somewhere. Probably to like a medical tent if there's one. If they're kind of have like a signal or a thing on them.
You would know just from having been there when they said they were taking Ubo over to the medical tent. And you actually see Ubo just now leaving the medical tent. And, yeah, he just leaves the tent. I'll leave it up to you, Ubo.
I would scan the camp, see where they were, and just very kind of methodically, like kind of heel toeing it, just one step after another, but kind of pausing between each step. Not really looking at them, just heading towards them. Just kind of concentrating on what was just offered and stuff like that, but definitely wanting to get back to my companions. Coming up,
they're not that far away, maybe 100 feet away, at this campfire.
Would I have heard anything, Jake, that they were talking about?
You just came out, so you wouldn't have heard the discussion.
Okay.
And as you come out, Dunala, Vale, Brilinya sitting around the fire, you kind of just, at the same time you begin to feel it, you can hear, it's not enough to put the fire out, you just hear as a light rain picks up, making it just that much cooler out. It's dropped, the temperature's now dropped from around 95 degrees to probably closer to 65 degrees, and there's a cold rain falling as Ubo seems to be moving towards you with a noticeable slowness to his walk. Brilinya.
I think as soon as Brilinya sees him, she would just kind of stop and... Did you find the turtle?
He would almost take a second. Yes. She's very sick. I told her I would send you or Vale. Both of you have the ability to heal. I don't know what you can do for her, but I told her that maybe you could help. I don't know, but if you or him or Vale could do it, I'd appreciate it.
No worries. Do you know her?
No. She seemed to know me, though. Nobody ever knew me.
Oh?
She says she was looking for me. And you would hear Ubo just kind of chuckle with that. Just, it's silly to him. She,
Is that not so strange? Somebody's looking for you?
It is. At least we know why the Weeping Friars are looking for Brill. You know, we know that, but a random turtle in Chult is rare, and to see another one that came for me. Apparently the death curse is not just in Chult. It's everywhere.
Which is why we have to go get this thing sorted out quickly.
Yes, we do. And he would, with that, Mike, he would just kind of nod and just kind of keep nodding too long. Just kind of looking at the ground like, yes, we do. But could you or Brill please go see if you can do anything for her?
I'll go, Brill.
Okay.
And then I'll head down to the sick bay, or at least what passes for one.
And Ubo would, when you passed, he would just kind of nod and, thank you. And he would look over and go, Dunala, how far are we from this place, this city, where the Soulmonger is supposed to be? How long would it take?
Many weeks. Anyone who is suffering from the death curse that you know of now will likely be dead by the time we get there.
Likely or will be?
Will be.
You would just hear a very deep breath from Ubo. Kind of not wanting to give all the information, but still not wanting to be the answer that you just gave him, not wanting to hear what you just gave him. She says that she wants me to come back. That all the elders in the monastery are dead or dying, and that I'm one of the only ones left. I'm one of the ones that never went on an adventure, that never died, that was never resurrected. I was one of the boring ones, the ones they never let in. And because of that, I'm the one that's surviving. and she wants me to come back.
Ubo, would you be interested in a bit of wisdom?
Always.
Let me tell you this. There are two types of animals in the world, Ubo. There is the salmon, and there is the tiger. The salmon leaves home, and it goes on a great adventure through life, and eventually it comes back home, where it will die after having children and creating its family. The tiger leaves home, and it finds a new place, and it conquers that place, and it never goes back. You can choose to be the salmon, or you could choose to be the tiger. Both are valid, but Ubo, you do not strike me as a fish.
You would see him just kind of smile, and he'd, no, I'm not a fish, but I'm not so sure that I'm a tiger either. And he would look over at Brill, and he would say, being here with you specifically, have I helped you? Has me being here made anything better for you? And please be honest.
Of course. How could you even think that? You've helped all of us. Vale, well, maybe not Denali yet, but I know you helped Cole, and you have been important. Your time here has meant something.
I've never been important. I've never been more than just the guy that always messed up. And if with you and Vale and even Donala, there's a chance to help more than I can there. She said, and he would kind of fight back. You'd almost see like hit with like a clenched fist. She said that they wouldn't have to know that I wasn't a hero. They wouldn't have to know. If I'm going to go back, if I'm going to lead, I have to learn how. I have to be a hero before I can go back. Then I would just be playing that role again, hoping to be something that I never was. At least here with you, whether I die or not doesn't matter. I'm trying to be more than I am. If you say, you and Vale, you've been with me since the beginning. If you say that I've helped, if you say that it's better with me here than not, then I'll promise her I'll go back after, if I survive. But I'm going to leave that decision to you and Vale, because I'm too torn to make it.
I don't think Vale nor I would want to make that decision for you.
I'm not giving you a choice.
I don't know why being a hero to you is so important. I think that there are many people who are heroes and who don't have the qualities of a leader, who don't have what is needed to be, to do things that a leader needs to do. So I don't understand why you need to be a hero, why you need to do that.
Because everyone that is dying was a hero. Everyone who led us, every elder had a story about something they overcame, something greater than themselves. Every single one had a story and a lesson.
Or, Ubo, they said they had a story. You weren't there for these people. If they're already telling you they don't know that you need to be a hero, who's to say that they were actually heroes, Ubo?
He is completely dumbfounded by what you just said, Donald.
And with that, we're going to cut over to just as this conversation is starting, Vale, you've made your way back over to the hospital tent that Ubo had just come out of, wherein he said that this turtle was that he asked you to assist with. You also know that Salida was brought in here, but you know that her illness is more one of the multiple levels of exhaustion from being tortured by Dunala. As you enter the tent, there are several bodies in here that are just various stages of different types of sickness. People coughing and hacking, people with sores, visible sores on their body. There's a smell of sickness, of body odor, of waste, of vomit, and very thin attempts to cover those scents. And there are a couple of people that seem to be fulfilling the roles of nurses, these Templars that are here taking care of things. That Commander Breakbone had mentioned the religious corps, and they seem to be in charge of the taking care of the people in the tent here. And one of them, she has this air of authority about her, comes up to you wearing, as described previously, vestments that are not at all, they're not the same as Brilinya's original robes, but they're evocative of that with the white and the red. And she comes up, and you can see she's using a cloth to wipe blood from her hands, and in vain. And then she kind of just looks up at you. Yes, how may I help you?
Yes, have come to help where I can. In the and I have to think about it for a sec. In the name of Ubtao.
Do you serve Ubtao? And she looks at you with an almost skeptical, one eyebrow raised look.
See, it's funny. That look you're giving me right now is the exact same look that I gave the one who told me that I was a servant of Ubtao. Ubtao's funny that way, isn't he? Like anything in the jungle, it just comes up on you unexpectedly. And if you're not ready for it, well, it could just very well consume you. Luckily, I'm only half consumed, so there's still bits of me left.
Well, at this stage, it does not matter what god you serve. If you have any affiliation to any of the gods, it seems as though we can use their help here.
Of course.
What exactly is your specialty?
Healing? I mean, I can get rid of diseases as well, at least on some. How many folk do you have down with disease right now?
Well, and she kind of looks around. There's all told, there's about maybe 15 people in this tent. As she looks around and she says, and she just starts kind of pointing. Those three over there are just sick. Those two.
You don't have to worry about them because they're just sick and they'll more than likely get better. So those three off to the side. Is there any serious diseases, any contagious diseases that we can attack first? You know, like ones that like people usually get sick if they hang around them too much.
Well,
there is. I do need, though, to ensure that I heal up one Miss Turtle. She's got to be around here somewhere, so...
Yes, in the back corner is the turtle. She has been here for a couple of weeks, plagued by just about every sickness. Between you and I, she should never have left her home. Her immune system is nothing compared to even the simplest bug bites here in the jungles have brought her down.
Nope, I understand. Tell you what then. We'll make a beeline for her, make sure that she can get healed up pretty quick, and then you just point to me, as many folk with whatever diseases they have, cure them up. So I'll be curing her first, and then 5 more individuals, because if memory serves me correctly, if I heal 5 points, I can either heal 5 points or cure one disease.
Yep, 5 points of your hit point pool for lay on hands can be used for a disease.
And my total hit point pool is 30, so I can heal 6 people.
Okay. And you can just do that, right?
Yes. There's no roll. There's no.
All right. So, she kind of leads you to the back, and as you're walking back, she just says, "I am Sister Caius. Your name is?"
I'm Vale.
Vale, servant of Ubtao. We shall see if your god serves you to the degree which you say he can. And she still has a slightly skeptical look, but almost hopeful at the same time, as she leads you to the back corner, where you see a feminine, very fragile turtle woman lying on a cot. She's turned away from you, so she's facing the corner, and she seems to be you can see her shoulders are kind of shaking a little bit, and you can't really tell if she's shivering or if she's crying or coughing quietly. This is the only turtle in here, so this would be the one that Ubo spoke of. How do you heal her?
I sit down on her bed and say, "Hi. A mutual friend of ours asked me to come by and see what's wrong. Maybe I can help you out."
She just kind of looks at you, and her eyes are shimmering with a wetness that you can see as tears building in her eyes. And it looks like it takes effort for her to just attempt to smile. And then she just kind of slumps a little bit. She just doesn't have any more energy to even speak to you.
What is the in this tent? Like, has it basically been like a wooden floor put down and like basically any nature kind of?
Yeah, because of the dampness of the camp overall, even from the storms, you knew that some of the unsanitary conditions in this camp have to do with overflowing latrine pits. All of the tents have wooden floors and partial walls that go up about 2 or 3 feet, and then the frame of the tent is set upon those with the canvas kind of draping down so that it's leveled out and it keeps it up. Everything still has a dampness to it,
but it's better.
But it's definitely better than if it were, just the wet ground.
All right, I'm gonna kind of like stick my hand up and over the tent, and I'm just gonna pull a leaf off of like a bush or like a branch, like some larger, like a frond or something. And I'll say, "Look, I've never tried this before, but Don't worry. I think I've got this. And I place the frond kind of like on her chest as she's laying down, and I'm gonna tell her, I'm just gonna call on the power of Ubtao, and what's going to happen is we're gonna draw the sickness out of you, and we're gonna put it in the frond. Does that make sense? Because it makes no sense to me, but we're gonna try because I'm pretty sure this is how it's gonna work. And so I lay on hands, and as I kind of like I'll place my hand on her chest, like over the frond, and then I'll begin to like pull up a bit, and you can just see this spot that's about the size, just about the size of the center of my hand, kind of go black, and then I'm going to push down again, and then I'm going to pull up again, and you can see the entire outline of my hand in this frond in black, and I'm just going to keep doing this back and forth, pulling this up, and then you just see this like the whole frond turn this sickly black as if it was coated in disease. And then once that's done, I'm going to pick up the frond, like kind of like at the edge, and just kind of drop it, like past the tent again, just drop it on the ground. Now, I don't know if that's going to help completely, but I think you have a good chance. So no more getting sick, at least not for a little while. Maybe have some water or something. Does she have like a cup of water by her, or is there like a communal bucket of water that people are just kind of like dipping in? Because
there's actually a wooden barrel that's kind of in the middle of the tent that some of these acolytes have been, occasionally they'll go over to with like a ladle, and they'll bring this over to give water to the individual patients.
Okay, I'm gonna walk over to it. I'm gonna walk over to this barrel. I'm gonna look at it, and I'm gonna cast something that's finally gonna have a bloody effect, and that's purify food and drink. So I'm just gonna lay my hands on the barrel, and you just see it like bubble, like boil really, really, really quick, and then like just gone, and just cool, like go down to being like cool. And I'm gonna grab a ladle. Here's some clean water. Try and help you out. And I'm gonna look at I already forget the sister's name, which makes me a bad person.
Sister Caius.
Thanks. I'm gonna look at Sister Caius. Sister, if you're going to give more than folk water, you've got to boil it first. I mean, I've drank from rivers that haven't been as clean as what I had originally thought, and it doesn't help the stomach any worse than them folk are already going through. All right, lead me to the next person. We'll do as many as we can.
As you give the water to Tielro, the turtle, you actually can see that her face has a little bit more brightness to the green of her skin, and her blue eyes, not at all unlike Ubtao's, there seems to be just a little glimmer of light in them that wasn't there just a little bit ago. And when you speak to Sister Caius, you notice that the couple of acolytes that were in here tending have stopped what they were doing. They're standing behind her. All of them are staring at you with a look of wonder. Two of the acolytes are whispering to themselves. And Sister Caius, kind of, as you say this to her about taking around to the others, she just looks at you and she says, "You say you are a servant of Ubtao. We shall add Ubtao amongst our prayers then. It is amazing what you are able to accomplish here in the name of Ubtao. Surely the blessings of Ubtao are upon you and us, for him sending you to us. Yes, come." And first, take a point of inspiration for that. I love using the palm to channel the healing. That was fantastic. Now, I would like you to roll a not a D5, a D6 minus 1.
Thank God, because I'm like, I don't have a D5, which it is a thing.
Yes.
D5s are a thing.
Cut a side off of one of your D6s. I don't think that's how geometry works.
That's not.
That's not how geometry works, but that's cool. That's cool. Oh, man. 3. That's after the minus 1.
Okay, so you begin this ritual. By this point, the Sister Caius has already said something to one of the acolytes, who comes in and presents more fronds to you and asks if these will be sufficient. And you are able to perform this ritual as they take you. Sister Caius takes you to some of the patients that seem to be the worst off. And she just kind of mutters things like throat leeches, shivering sickness, mad monkey fever. But regardless of what the disease is, you are able to use your powers to heal them of this sickness. Their bodies are still frail. They're still ravaged by the disease that was in their body. But the disease is pulled from them, channeled through you and Ubtao and into these fronds. About the time that, and during the previous conversation with Ubo and the others was taking place, about the time you get to the third person, you hear a sound from outside that sounds like, almost like a kettle drum. Just doo, 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 doo. And all of you hear this as well. And you hear it again. Doo, 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 doo. Inside the tent Vale, you see Sister Caius and the acolytes stop what they're doing. Sister Caius actually puts a hand, as you're about to start healing this other person, she puts a hand and stops you. Outside, Dunala, Ubo, Brilinya, you see as the people around the tents, around the camp, at the first sound of the drum, they freeze, as if they're listening. And then you hear that second set of drum beats. And you see some of the ones who are wearing swords on their belts or have bows on their backs. They begin to reach, just placing a hand on their weapons, reaching toward their weapons. But they still wait. And then you hear a third. Doo, 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 doo. And immediately people begin running towards the guard towers. You see for the first time from the back of the camp, the first time that any of you have seen them, in addition to all of the weary soldiers and the commander and the 2 captains, you see that there are about a dozen or so tribal warriors that seem to be augmenting the force here. And Dunala, you would recognize, as they speak in Chultan, a couple of them seem to be some sort of squad leaders, as they are ordering in Chultan to each of the 5 guard towers, as they begin to send barking orders, and motioning them where to go. As you can hear, they are saying, you to the northeast, you to the north, to the west, to the south, to the gate. Other soldiers begin running around. Pern Solana, the one of the commanders, the human female that initially took Ubo to the tent, comes running up to the 3 of you, and she says, "If you are able to help, please, to the towers." "Well, don't just stand there." And she begins moving back towards the gate tower.
I think Brilinya would follow close behind. What is it? What's out there?
She just looks back at you and she says, "The undead." So, and inside the tent, Vale, after the third drum, Sister Kaya, still holding your hand back from healing this next person, says, "Wait. We may have other need of your abilities. The undead, they attack. You can stay here and assist with triage as the wounded will come in. Or you can go with your friends out to the towers and possibly outside the gate to assist."
Look, why don't we just... I'll heal as many more folk as I can quickly here, and then we'll run over. I'll run over if I can, if they even need me to go and assist. The first should be, let's heal these folk, get them up and going. I mean, after all, a soldier who can't even fight is going to be just nothing more than another corpse. So just take me to the next one. Let's heal them up, get them going, let them rest, then they can fight again.
Very well. Outside, Ubo, Dunala, Brilinya, what are you going to do? People are running to all of the different guard towers. Selhana herself has run towards the guard tower over the main entrance gate.
Dunala,
You're muted, Drake.
oh,
That's fine.
you can go ahead and go first, Drake.
Well, I said, like usual, wherever Brill goes, Ubo will be 2 or 3 steps behind.
And
whichever
Brilinya, you were following Selhana.
Yeah, she would follow her.
Dunala's still sitting at the fire. He didn't get up when Solana ordered him to, and he didn't follow Solana when she walked away. He takes out his pipe, he stuffs his pipe, he lights his pipe, and he's watching the Chultans and seeing where they're going. And he wants to see where the Chultan commander, where that specific person went.
There's 2 of them. They seem to each command about 6 or 7 tribal warriors. And one of them goes to the west tower, and one of them goes to the northernmost tower, which is actually closest to your position, looking at the map. Because you guys are just north of that fire.
Tower. As he approaches, he's not approaching with any sort of like unease, any kind of worry. He's not rushing like everyone else is. He's watching where everyone else is going as well, like where people tend to run to the towers, to basically get a feel of where people's stations normally are.
Give me a perception check.
All right. Let me open my dice roller. That's terrible. All right, that is going to be a 10.
All you're really able to tell with that is even the people that seemed like they were dragging, they were weak, they were tired, they seem to get a surge of adrenaline, and nobody seems to look around like, where do I go now? Everybody knows where to go. And you just kind of get a sense that maybe everybody has assigned positions in the case of an attack.
Gotcha. All right. With that knowledge, he would definitely still keep going to the eastern tower.
Something I should have asked before you went into the tent with all the sick people. Vale, is Moyo with you?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. No, actually, no. No, I probably wouldn't have had her go into the tent unless she starts freaking people out. So.
Okay. And Brilinya, what about Vorn?
Vorn's going to be coming. Actually, I think she would command Vorn to go towards the main gate. And
Which if you're following Solana, that's where you and Ubo are going anyway. As you get to the main gate, Brilinya, Solana, already starting to climb the ladder up to the 2nd level, just looks back at you and says, "That thing will have to stay on the ground. If you are able to control it, perhaps you can send it outside the gate and control it from up here."
Brilinya would just nod, and her eyes would just shine this quick blue, and Vorn would kind of go out in past the gate, and she would start climbing up. She would actually just briefly touch what was her name? Sorry, Saldana.
Selhana.
Just briefly, and she's casting protection from evil and good, which protects her from undead. And
which does what mechanically?
They have disadvantage on attack rolls against her.
Okay, good to know. And what about Dunala? You were kind of looking to try to get a sense of where people were going. Which you see Ubo and Brilinya heading toward the main gate tower. You see, which is Riverside. You see Brilinya command Vorn, and they open the gate to let Vorn pass through the gate before sealing it. No sign of Vale. Where would you go, Dunala?
I'm still going to the eastern tower like I originally was.
So that northeast tower or the eastern gate tower?
The eastern gate tower where the Chultan commander's at.
No, the Chultan commander, one of them went to the north and one went to the west.
Then I'm going to the western one, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to go all the way to the west, opposite end of where Ubo and Brilinya are.
Yes.
Awesome. We have a 3-way split with the party during what is about to be a battle with Undead. So I'm going to go ahead and have everybody roll initiative now. Whoops, that is a D10. And that's going to be...
I rolled a 1. It's a good start.
So Ubo has a 1. Vale?
With a +8, I still have a freaking 13. So we got that going for us.
Okay. Vale?
It's all right. I wanted to wait until I actually rolled so you can hear it, and it's wait. What's my initiative again? Oh yeah, it's 12. That's me at 12.
Brilinya?
I got a 16 and Vorn got a 3.
Wow. You have great rolls tonight.
Okay, so let's see how this shakes out. Oops. That would be 4. It's a big battlefield today. So you're 5, you're 6, you're 7. Okay, so the commanders actually have the highest initiative, so that works well for you guys. Brilinya, you will be second. And then it'll follow Dunala, Vale, Ubo, with a few other things going interspersed in there. The commanders already, Dunala, as you head to the west, the Chultan commander kind of looks at you as you get towards the tower. Who are you? What are you doing here?
My name is Dunala, and our ancestor Ubtal has sent me. And I'm here to collect your path and show you why you must return to it. I will demonstrate on these undead.
Do you have any? Are you carrying any visible weapons?
He has a spear on his back. Yukwa.
Yeah. I have no time to question your loyalty. Let us hope you can use that, as well as you use your mouth. To the tower. And he begins to climb. Over on the from the northern towers, everybody can kind of hear as Commander Breakbone is barking orders around, and he's yelling loud enough to the other commanders at the other tents and our towers, and they seem to be barking orders to kind of passing them along around the perimeter. As a reminder, these towers rise up over a 12-foot wooden palisade, that there is also a trench that goes all the way around the encampment that's filled with murky water, so you can't really tell how deep it is. And there are quite a few sharpened, spiked logs sticking at odd angles all around on the wall side of that trench. Over on the wall where Brilinya and Ubo are with Sohana, she kind of barks some orders down to about a half a dozen soldiers that are in the courtyard, just telling them, you stay strong, you stay here, make sure nobody gets in through the gates. And if they do, you make sure that they do not make it any further than you. You. And you, as she looks to Ubo and Brilinya. You. Control that thing as much you can. It is a powerful ally for us to have here. As she indicates where you can see outside of the gate now is Vorn. What are you going to do from up here, Tortle? She's kind of looking and she doesn't see any bow and arrow. She's like looking at you like your sword belt and looking for any ranged weapons and doesn't see anything.
Ubo, with that, would how do we see anything outside of the gate, or can I see over the gate, Jake?
Yeah, from up here you can see down over the gate, and you can actually now see as she says this to you, and then she kind of turns, hearing the commander barking orders to the north, and everybody is kind of pointing and starts facing their weapons, drawing bows towards the north. The direction you all came from, maybe an hour or so ago. The trees have been cleared back away from the trench about 30 feet, and you can just see coming through the trees what looks to be a few dozen skeletons and zombies shambling through. You can see some of the skeletons are actually carrying short bows and knocking arrows. You see a few, 2 or 3 ankylosaurs coming out of the tree line, but they're decayed looking, clearly undead ankylosaurs. And you can hear more sounds coming from inside the jungle.
And to respond to her, Jake, Ubo would take the gauntlets that he's still wearing. He would smack them down so that front kind of Ankylosaurus club front, click down, click, and he would, in one in each hand, he would actually concentrate for a moment, and you would see like orbs of of light appear in both hands. And since he can attack twice, he would actually take those orbs, and he won't attack anything. He'll just kind of toss them out over the thing, and just kind of look at him. I have things I can do from up here.
Let us hope it's enough. This is a powerful force. And it is going to be Brilinya. You're up next.
Brilinya is just going to begin to kind of shape this ball in her hand of fire and light, as her forearms just also kind of glow and move with her scars, and she sends out what looks like the small little beam of light out where a lot of the these undead are, most of them if she can, and it all of a sudden just erupts into this huge flaming sphere of fire and light. And yeah, she casts Flaming Sphere.
Okay. And that...
So, it's any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of the sphere must make a dexterity saving throw. And on a fail, they take damage. Or half as much on a successful one.
And what is its area? That's what I'm trying to
5
find.
feet. 5-foot diameter.
Okay. So it's just a 5-foot diameter sphere
Yeah.
that you kind of launched into the middle.
Yep. And anyone who ends their turn within 5 feet of the sphere.
Okay. Excellent. Good to know. Dunala, you are up next.
So what does Dunala see from the Western Tower?
Nothing seems to be coming from the west, but you can see what at this range it's probably about 80-90 feet away from you to the north, spread out across about 100 feet. It's this force of skeleton zombies. I just created a new monster, a scombi.
All right.
Skeleton zombies and zombie dinosaurs.
Dunala will point to this force approaching, and he will say in Chult to the soldiers around him, "Look, my friends, as the enemy come, the blight upon the land on which we live, and watch as Ubtao comes to assist us, to help us rip out this poison with our own fangs." And as he speaks, because I can't cast anything at distance here because it's too far away, I'm casting Prestidigitation on myself. And these markings of beast, these tattoos will appear from my fingertips all the way down my arms, across my neck, and across my face. These whirling, moving, glowing, jade green creatures is fighting and tearing things apart, tearing apart the undead on my skin. And Dunala says, "This mark on my body was given to me by Ubtao, and you will see what it does. You will see." And that's going to have to end my turn, because...
In response, the chief mutters a word in Chultan, and two of the guards of the 6 tribal warriors that are here at this tower with you kind of snicker and mutter something else. The word the chief used doesn't translate, but it's in Chultan. It basically means a child who talks too much, and the 2 guards kind of laugh, and one of them says a word that is the equivalent of showboat.
Dunala understands that warriors only believe in might makes right, and he knows that soon he will show them that his might will make right.
And the skeletons are going to launch a volley toward the camp. And let's see how they do. Arrows thunk harmlessly into the palisade near the western tower. To the north, you see arrows barely clearing the palisade wall. Dunala, an arrow strikes one of the Chultans near you in the shoulder. Where it strikes his shoulder is about 8 inches from where your arm was moments before, and then you gesticulated and kind of moved it out of the way. The rest of the arrows from these skeletons seem to kind of fall flat. Already, some of the zombies are shambling forward and nearing the edge of the moat around the encampment. And I kind of jumped the order. That's fine. Vale, you are able to heal another person inside the tent. Sister Caius can already hear the sounds of what's happening outside. And an arrow actually strikes the canvas of the tent up above you, but it doesn't pass through. It hits the tent, but gets caught. The fletching stops it from coming through. As you see a little bit of sunlight coming through, and you hear that just kind of... And you're able to heal one more. I think after this one, you only have one more lay on hands. Because you had done 3. Well, you had healed the turtle, and then you had healed 3 more before the drum
That's
sounded.
4, so I've got 2 more.
Okay, yes. Sorry. So, but this one that you're healing now, if you do go ahead and heal, would
Is
leave
the
you with
5th.
1 more. This would
Yeah.
be the 5th.
Yeah. I'll just look at Sister Caius and say, "Don't worry, sister. Our enemies are in here. So let's focus on our task, yeah?" And I'll look around at some of the acolytes. Try to find anything we can use to try and shore up some of these, some of this canvas. Any holes, try and block it up with bits of leather or something else that's thick. Try and keep anything from coming in. And I'll point to just some random acolyte. Just keep a watch over. There should be only one way in and one way out of here, isn't there? Or there are 2 exits?
There's just the 1 entrance.
Right. Have you in the front, watching there. If there's anything coming out, yell at me, and I'll go re-kill it.
Very well. And Sister Caius actually looks over at a couple of the acolytes and just says, "Shields!" And they move over to a side, kind of a storage area where there's some crates and medical supplies. And they grab shields, and they actually, one of them moves to stand near you, holding a shield up, protecting you as you move to heal. Then that is going to take us to... Let's see... Wouldn't be... okay. Yep, it's going to be that one. So, Dunala, Brilinya, Ubo, give me perception checks.
14.
What? You both said them at the same time.
7.
14.
18.
And what'd you
I'm
get?
18.
18? Brilinya. Dunala, you don't hear anything out of the ordinary or see anything out of the ordinary. Brilinya and Ubo, you hear a sound that you haven't heard in a few weeks. A couple weeks, I should say. You heard this sound in back when you were at Fort Beluarian. It's a sort of mangled, guttural roaring sound with a sort of strain to it, but you hear it. Ubo, you hear the sound. Brilinya, you can hear the separation in it. You can hear that it's coming from more than one location. Whatever's making this sound is not 1 or 2, but 3 of them. And you recognize it as the sound of the 4-armed, white-furred Girlon that attacked at Fort Beluarian. As you see 3 of these giant ape-like, they're huge ape-like creatures with 4 arms burst out of the trees, actually knocking some of the skeletons aside. And they begin loping quickly as they can in their zombie form. Patches of fur missing, revealing skeleton and bone. One of them, its face is half rotted away. Another one, its chest is exposed, and you can see the desiccated and decayed organs inside as they begin loping towards the encampment. Brilinya, it is Vorn's go.
Vorn is going to try and run up to the closest undead and just punch it.
What is Vorn's speed?
30.
So Vorn was outside of the east gate, So Vorn would only be able to get about halfway to in one move.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna go the full distance then.
Okay, so
Use his
using
action.
using the you kind of kick Vorn into high gear, and this giant metal and wood puppet basically just you can see in the rain the water splashing off of him and the mud and muck splashing as he moves around that northeastern corner and just begins to move into the fray, as finally it is Ubo's turn.
Jake, on the map, where is the concentration of these things? Like under which letter?
The entire width of the word Camp Vengeance.
Okay.
They're spread out, actually more than that, because they're spread out across about 100 feet.
Right now, Ubo, in his mind, he keeps looping. One thing keeps going through his head over and over and over again, and it's be a hero, over and over again, and he's kind of consumed by it. If he could get through the gate, and use a dash action, to get as close to Vorn as he can, to kind of meet them.
What's your speed?
30. Wait, no.
No, you're a monk. It should be 40, isn't it?
Hold on, I gotta find it. One
Don't
second.
you get extra speed for being a monk?
You do actually, but I'm only at 35 for some reason. Maybe that's because I don't know.
Well, that might be right.
Just leave it at 35.
Well, you could climb down it would take you an entire action to climb down the ladder and get around to the gate, or you could just jump down. It's only about 15 feet.
I would jump down. I have slow fall as a monk, so.
Oh, fantastic. What does that look like then as Ubo leaps over the edge and sprints up to fight alongside Vorn?
It would Ubo wouldn't even look at Brill or anything. She's safe up top here. You would see him just literally jump, and it looks like he's just going to smash down, on his face, but you see him just kind of tuck in, and he has this kind of graceful roll on his shell, and just kind of hits the ground running as he rolls forward and makes a mad dash for the Shield Guardian.
Fantastic. And same thing, you're just kind of splashing through the muck and the rain, which it's not pouring or anything, it's just a steady rain. As you run up and you just kind of skid up alongside the Shield Guardian who towers above you. Up in the towers, the commanders are barking orders. Dunala, the commander nearest you, orders his tribal warriors. There's still 3 of the regular guard here on this tower, but seeing that they're all coming from the north, he orders 4 of his 6 to move to the northern tower, and they begin climbing down and scrambling to the north tower. A couple of them actually begin to shimmy up the support posts. There's not really technically a wall around an inner wall around the palisade, like a platform, but they just kind of shimmy up the supports and are just clinging and leaning over with bows. You can hear Commander Breakbone barking orders, pointing at the different directions, seeing the Garrulons, and ordering more archers up onto the towers. And you already begin to see the archers taking aim from those towers. Solana is ordering her own troops there at the gate to hold fast. As with their orders, the guards along the northern edge of the wall are going to take some shots. One of the one of the Camp Vengeance regulars tries to emulate what the Chultan tribal warriors were doing, climbing up one of the edges. And as soon as he draws his bow, he just slips upside down on the wet wood, unable to even hold his position with a critical fail. That's going to be a hit. That's a miss. Okay. You watch as several arrows fly, and you see... Dunala, it's hard to make out from here, but you can see a couple. Ubo, you definitely can see across the line. You're kind of at the corner of the line, and you can see as a few of the skeletons drop. They just kind of break apart. You would see it from where you are too, Brilinya, as several of the arrows find their way home. And you're up, Brilinya. Oh, the skeletons... we should have done this because it's on their turn if they end their turn, right? So roll damage for last round, as two of them are actually in the range of that flaming sphere.
So they would take 14 damage if they failed, and 7 if they pass.
And you watch as they're paying it no mind, these undead, as they move in, and a couple of them stop within range and just explode outward, falling into pieces. And then now we're in real time as it's your turn.
So Brilinya is going to move the sphere so that it hits one of the undead, and has to make a dexterity saving throw.
That's a 4. So I'm going to assume that's a fail.
So it takes 13 points of damage.
You move this sphere of flame towards the skeleton, and you don't even feel, as you move it through its space, any resistance in the control of it. As it passes through where the skeleton was, there just isn't a skeleton there anymore. It's as if you've just erased it with this fireball.
And then she's going to take aim at another and roll, cast Eldritch Blast as this kind of radiant light kind of comes out from her hands and strikes the one for 25 to hit.
What are you aiming at? More skeletons or the
Yeah,
Garolons
more
or the
undead.
dinosaurs?
Well, I think probably the Garolons.
Okay, so you got left, middle, right.
Left.
That's going to be the furthest away from you.
Oh, closest one to me.
Okay. So you have 2 blasts with your Eldritch Blast?
Oh, I do.
Yep. So go ahead and roll to hit for both of those.
Oh, one's a crit.
Ooh, nice. And as a reminder, we do crits. Maximum max damage, then roll your dice one more time.
Okay, so that's going to be 15. That's going to be 30 damage for the crit, and then 15 damage for the not crit.
What does it look like as these Eldritch Blasts streak through the rain and hit this rightmost Garolon, which would be within about 20 feet of Vorn and Ubo, and you don't kill it, but you do significant damage to this thing? What does that look like?
I can just imagine that this light just comes streaking across, like, I almost imagine it like those screamer fireworks, that noise, and you just see it just kind of hit this Garolon, making it stagger back, and there's this horrific hole, but not quite through, but just like singed whatever fur it has left, singed skin, maybe some pieces fall off a little bit, and you can see that it's still glowing with that radiance.
And you definitely would see this Ubo in front of you as these streaks come down from the tower where you were moments before from Brilinya, and just seem to momentarily immolate this Garolon in radiant light. Dunala, you are up next.
This giant wave of undead is within 150 feet of Dunala, correct?
That is correct.
Perfect. Dunala raises his left hand, and as he does so, he steals the dreams from all the sick people inside of the camp that Vale is currently tending to. Vale, you will hear a lot of these people begin whispering in their fever dreams the word Dendar and Night Serpent over and over again. As Dunala raises his hand into the air, you begin to see these dreams coalesce above his palm and above his head as a 20-foot in diameter massive writhing green snake of flame, and it curls into a ball. And Dunala says, he repeats that word in Chultan that basically means showboat back to the captain, and then he points to the massive army of zombies marching down. And the ball streaks off almost like a laser beam, or like the firework that Brilinya just fired. And where it lands, it will explode for a 20 feet size explosion as I cast Fireball in that area. DC 16, dexterity saving throw for 30 points of damage.
DC what?
DC 16, I believe my DC was.
So I'm going to roll 3 saves. One for the Giralon that's there, one for the Ankylosaur that's there, and one for the grouping of undead. So the Giralon, you said it's a dex, right?
I believe so. Let me double check. Yeah, it is.
That is a 5.
That's fair.
Ankylosaur is a... Oh, I'm sorry. The Giralon is a 7, not a 5.
That changes everything.
The Ankylosaur is a 14.
Still fails.
And the Undead... It's a 3 on the die.
So that will be
pretty much everything fails.
Damage.
How much?
It's 30 points of fire damage I rolled as the shockwave echoes out over the entire field.
Okay. So why don't you... I want you to roll me a d12.
That's a 7.
7 zombies and skeletons are completely incinerated by this fireball. The Giralon that was there, it's the flame on its fur is already starting to go out from the rain, but you've singed all of its fur away. It is now a hairless Giralon. You can see hideous burns in addition to the other gore that was there, and the Ankylosaur that was there burns away some of its flesh. Its shell seems to be holding on to some of the fire from this.
And Dunala will tell the Chultans around him, your heresy and your disbelief has angered Ubtao, and now you will see what Ubtao's anger can do.
Let us hope Ubtao keeps doing that through you, says the commander. And now it is the skellies and the zombies. We're going to launch another volley. So let's see. 1 is going to hit. You hear some cries as about a half a dozen or so of the Chultan regulars are struck with arrows. I'm going to roll randomly to determine which location is going to get hit with this crit. A 1 is going to be Dunala's tower. A 2 is going to be the center tower. A 3 is going to be Vale's tent. And a 4 is going to be the Brilinya's tower. An arrow streaks across through the rain, through all of the other volley. It seems to fly straight, and you've been hearing him yell orders as suddenly his yelling is cut short as an arrow pierces through Commander Breakbone's armor, striking him in the chest, but none of you are close enough to know how badly he is injured from this arrow. Vale, inside the tent, you can hear the chaos outside just over the last few moments. You've got one of your cure diseases left, as Sister Caius has led you to the next person.
Actually, in the time it took from my last my last turn to now, I actually left Camp Vengeance and ran screaming into the jungle, leaving the rest of my friends alone to get pretty much overrun and murdered. Because I figured, hey, look, if one of us is going to survive, it might as well be the good-looking one that everyone likes. So, I've seen horror movies. I know how this all works.
It wouldn't be Chult the Personality without Mike's fourth wall breaking.
I know, right? I would be rushing over to the next one, the one that looks obviously in the most pain. Heal them. Look a little forlorn, and I will turn to Sister Caius. Excuse me, and I will say, right, we can't do any more without resting up. In the meanwhile, though, I'll go enjoying the fights up front. Do any of you have weapons which you can defend the sick or injured with?
Sister Caius just looks at you, and she pulls at a corner of her robe, her vestments, and as she pulls it down, you can see the chain shirt underneath. And she pulls aside at her waist, and you can see that there's, under her robes, there's a mace hanging inside.
Well, then I'll take that as a yes. Good.
Go. You have done good work here. We thank you. And we offer prayers back to Ubtao.
That's what I like to hear, I think. And I'll just go running off toward, I guess, the front gate. As soon as I run out the tent, whatever looks like the biggest shit show, I will head towards that parade of fecal matter. Sword drawn out, ready to kick
You'd be
ass.
hearing probably the closest to you. The tent you're in is pretty much right just south of where that north tower is, where Commander Breakbone just got wounded. And you can hear quite a bit of commotion from there. Seeing you come out of the tent, a couple of the Chultan Camp Vengeance regulars would actually call to you, just thinking you as a medic. And you can see the commander kind of leaning against the edge of the tower, and you can see the arrow pierced out of his chest and the blood running down in the rain on his armor. He's a little white-faced, but he's still on his feet.
All right, I will run up to. I'll run up to him. As well, at least I'll go up as fast as I can to go tend to him. By the way, let's all take a moment and laugh at the irony that the paladin is playing medic on this one. Didn't even see this one coming, but I'll bet you a couple of like hardcore paladin players would be just like flipping tables right now. This whole thing, it's like you got a dex-based paladin who doesn't even believe in the god that they've been assigned to, that is now playing the healer. So take that, expected character party roles.
It is now Vorn. What are you going to have Vorn do, Brilinya? You got a Garrelon within about 20 feet of both Ubo and the Vorn, as well as an Ankylosaur and quite a few undead.
I think that Vorn is going to go after the Garrelon.
All right, what's he going to do?
Punch it. Okay, that's that's another crit.
Nice.
Okay. What is that? That's 12, 16. That's 26 for the crit. And then the other hit is a 19.
Well, save that second hit.
Okay.
Vorn, Ubo, you watch as Vorn just takes a couple of quick strides toward that Garrelon. The one that had been just blasted by Brilinya's Eldritch Blast. And Vorn just, as stepping, Vorn just takes that first punch and just caves in the chest, pushes his fist through the Garrelon, and as he draws it back, the Garrelon doesn't stand, it doesn't grab at his chest or anything, it just collapses like a sack of potatoes, and it's down. One Garrelon is down, and Vorn still has a second attack. There are several undead around, as well as the undead Ankylosaur.
I think that Vorn is going to go after the Ankylosaur if he can.
Absolutely.
Great.
Wait, what's his movement?
30 feet.
Okay, you still have about 10 feet of movement, and that would get you to the Ankylosaur.
Great. So then that's a 19 to hit.
That's a hit.
That does 14 points of damage.
You can hear, Ubo, this sound as the Ankylosaur shell cracks under the weight of this punch, but it doesn't break. As Ubo, it's your turn.
How far from where I'm standing, Jake, the biggest concentration of them, how many are there and how far away are they?
You've got an Ankylosaur within about 30 feet of you that Vorn is engaged with. It's hard to get an exact count. There's a couple dozen of the skeletons and zombies all over the place, spread across that 100 feet. And about another, say, let's see, you made it up to the corner. So probably within about 30 to 40 feet of you is the other Garrelon, or an other Garrelon and Ankylosaur.
I'm going to use my 35 movement to get within 5 feet of the largest mass of creatures that I can see. Okay. And what I want to do is you're going to see Ubo kneel down, and he's gonna put his big hands forward. He's going to put both thumbs together, and he's going to use his one of his Sun Soul abilities. He's going to cast Burning Hands at the group. And you'll actually see his hands begin to glow, and it going down his arms. It actually goes all the way back to his shell, and his shell begins to glow a little bit, and then that kind of radiant light just shoots back through his hands into a 15-foot cone of fire into the mass of undead.
What level?
I'm gonna actually cast it at second level, so it's gonna be 4d6.
And that's a dexterity save. 15-foot cone, yeah. So you ran up. So I'm going to have those two save as well. So the mass is a 12. What's your DC?
I'm sorry?
What's your save DC?
13.
So the mass of zombies and skeletons fails.
Awesome.
The Ankylosaur in the middle fails. The zombie Garrelon in the middle succeeds with a 18.
Okay. So it's gonna be 19 points of damage.
So roll a d12.
Okay. 11.
Seriously? No, I'm not saying I doubt you. Okay, that's really weird.
Right there.
Your green screen made your felt disappear.
Oh, did it?
Or your tabletop, yeah. There was a dice just floating.
Really? I didn't see that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, 11. Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I want you to say, how much damage was it again?
It was 19.
All right, so you just took out 11 zombies and skeletons.
Hell yeah.
And set did a fair amount to the Ankylosaur in the middle. What does that look like as you just decimate the force? I mean, you literally take out probably close to half of the force of Undead from the middle.
As I said, Ubo's down on his knee, and you see kind of the flash of light going from his shell to his hands. And as it initially comes out, he actually stands up, and as it's casting, and this kind of flamethrower just going out, he's actually taking steps forward, and he's passing these just charred, crispy corpses as he's walking further and further. As one drops, another, and as he's passing them, just the force of the blast, they're just turning to dust at his side as he stops about 10 feet in front of where he actually started.
And as this flame gout erupts from your hands and incinerates half of this force and burns into the Ankylosaur, this Giralon in the middle is loping. And it was moving towards the palisade, and then when you just start burning everything, it actually slides in the mud, and it kind of scrambles for a moment with its four arms, and it kind of bumps to a stop up against this Ankylosaur and turns to you, Ubo, who's now only about 20 feet away from it, as it roars, beating its chest with four arms, reaches high, throws its fist down to launch itself towards you as it charges, closing the distance. And it is going to, with its four arms, it just begins swinging at you. And it is going to make a total of 5 attacks against you.
The AC is 18.
The first fist comes in for a 15 as it just rakes across the front, missing you. The second one is an 18. I think that one hits, right?
Yep.
So that's one hit. The third one comes in, missing. That's a 15. The fourth one comes in. That's a 17, also missing. And finally, it leans in with just grotesque. Some of its teeth are missing as it roars and tries to bite you. And it misses. It's still kind of scrambling with its footing, and only connects with the one fist, which is going to do 5 points of slashing damage to you.
Sweet.
That was kind of pathetic. 5 attacks and I hit you with 1.
That's just the power of Ubo the Turtle Monk Jr. Master
Yep.
person. Marquise.
The other Giralon further down the line is moving rapidly toward the camp, and it gets to the edge of the moat and it leaps towards the wall. And I'm going to make this Giralon make a athletics check to see if it can clear the trench and the spikes. Are you freaking kidding me? That's a 3 on the die. So that's a 7. Okay. This Giralon, who Dunala, I believe you would see as it's and it slips in its jump. It ends up leaping from partway down in the moat. As it leaps toward the wall, it's doing this kind of, well, just like you see in the trailer for Rampage, that big white gorilla jumping through the air, and then suddenly, like it's going to grab the wall, and suddenly it smashes into the spikes. And I'm going to make it take some damage. As it takes... You see it get impaled from these spiked logs, and it takes quite a bit of damage from that. As we move back to the top of the order, Commander Breakbone, bleeding from this arrow wound, looks down at you, Vale. Are you just going to stand down there and stare at me, or are you going to help? We could use some more firepower.
Well, why don't I help the commander of this camp first, and then I can easily do whatever it is that you want me to do.
I am the commander of this camp.
Oh, I hardly noticed you without standing up there like some big twat or something. I guess you laying down bleeding is just a new thing for me. Rightio, let's get you all healed up, shall we? And I kind of go and I grab the arrow. I'm like, you're going to feel some pressure. I can't pull the arrow out. I have to push it all the way through. You understand?
Just do it.
Right. And so I kind of go halfway in, just so they get that half bit of pressure. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. So I was thinking, perhaps we could do ourselves a bit of a deal. See, I could help you. I mean, we're very busy right now. There's lots of folk, who are injured. Maybe you could help us out without having to make us go and be, all conscripted-like and whatnot. Maybe you can not conscript us and know that we just helped a bunch of your own people in the name of Ubtao, as it please you. And then maybe we can have you healed up.
Pull out the arrow and deal with the fight at hand, and then we'll talk about your service. He's speaking through spittles flying as he's in obvious pain.
Oh, I see. You sure about that? This might take a while.
Make a persuasion check.
Sure, why not? This is going to suck.
I'm going to have you do it at advantage because he's under quite a bit of duress.
Sure, I just got to go up to where my persuasion... Oh, yeah, I forgot. I actually put things into that.
And your charisma character.
Yeah, my charisma's not all that shit hot, but it's all right. Okay. And that would be a 13 on the... Well, 13 after everything.
Oh, yeah. He looks at you and he's looking down at the arrow, but almost like he doesn't want to look at it. Fine! Whatever it takes, just get this thing out of me.
And I just, as soon as he says fine, I just grab the thing with all my strength. I just push it like in one shot straight through his shoulder and like out. I just grab it, even through the fletching, and just pull the whole thing out. And then I'm gonna cast healing or cure wounds on him.
All right. He's still gritting his teeth, and even though you've healed, how many hit points do you heal him?
It would be 1d8 plus 3. Let's see what we got here. Oh shit, son, that's an 8. So that'd be 11.
Even though you've pretty much healed his wound, he's kind of holding his hand up by the wound and kind of still acting like he's pretty hurt. And he's just looking around. And he looks over at one of his commanders. He says, I need to go check on the other gates and the others. You're in charge here. To one of the others as he begins to head down from the tower to head over to a different tower. And that's going to take us to Brilinya.
When my sphere moved, were any others in the way of it? Within 5 feet?
No, you had moved it through, right through one spot, and none of the others were in that area.
Okay. And are any others wounded on the wall with where Brilinya is?
Not on your wall, actually.
Okay. All right, then she's going to move the sphere to hit another undead. And then she is going to cast another 2 Eldritch Blasts.
All right. How much damage does it do?
That was a good question. It will do 16 points of damage if they fail.
It's what is it? A dex save?
Dex save DC 14.
This time a zombie is immolated. This time it's there, a burning silhouette for a moment as it tries to take a step, but it leaves behind its entire leg. It collapses to the ground in burning embers that quickly turn to steam as the rain extinguishes the burning ashes.
And then
What are you going to fire your Eldritch Blasts at?
the Ankylosaur, is it still there, right?
Yes, there's one Ankylosaur that's closer, kind of over where Vorn is.
Yeah, she's gonna do that
Okay.
for 2, and that's a 20 and a 23.
Both are hits.
One is 14 and the other one is 8.
This radiant blast streak through, kind of reflecting off of Vorn's metal bits as they strike into this Ankylosaur. And you can even see some of the radiant light coming through the cracks and exposed bone of its skeletal structure as they strike it. And I would like... let's see. There's only a handful, so I'm only going to roll 2 times. The middle section was pretty much obliterated by... Actually, there's not much left on the right either. This herd is pretty thin at this point. I'd say there's about a half a dozen, mostly on the far left, of zombies and skeletons that remain, other than the 3 Ankylosaurs and the 2 Garrulons. And they're going to fire volleys, a couple at the center tower where Vale is. And with a 12, nobody gets hit. And with a 13, nobody's getting hit over by Dunala. Actually, that'd be a disadvantage. It doesn't matter. Nobody's getting hit. So more arrows from weak skeletons doing nothing. The Ankylosaur, now engaged, is going to strike at Vorn with its tail. And that is going to be a 23 to hit. Which I assume that beats Vorn's armor class. What is
Yes.
Vorn's armor class?
9.
Oh, good lord. I thought it was higher.
9,000. Duh.
That's 8, 9, 10... 14 points of bludgeoning damage. And Vorn needs to make a strength saving throw.
That's a 12.
Vorn is knocked prone with a mighty crash as he lands in the mud. Ubo, behind you a little ways, you hear as Vorn is knocked to the ground. But nearer to you, you hear the sound of the other nearby Ankylosaur moving toward you. And it swings its tail around. Not the first time you've been swung at by an Ankylosaur. But with a 14, you just hear the whoosh as this tail swings past you. Whatever newfound strength you found seems to be emanating an aura of untouchability around you. And let's see. I don't want to lose track of my order here. I believe that's Dunala next.
So the only clump that's like dense left is the left-hand side clump.
There's about a half a dozen zombies and skeletons on the left, plus an Ankylosaur. The Garrulon is actually out of your view right now.
All right. Brilinya, a couple of birds, 2 birds fall down at your feet. And when you look at them, you see that they are twitching and seizing, much like snakes often do when Dunala casts his magic. And then that green jade light begins to blossom and overcome the camp as he creates another fireball from the dreams of these creatures. And Dunala locks on with his eyes to this left-hand clump of zombies and Ankylosaur. And they all need to make a DC 16 save for 31 points of damage. Dex.
Fail. The Ankylosaur, it's a Dex.
Mm-hmm.
with a 10. That's a fail. Yep, it's all failed. 31, you said?
Yes, sir.
So that's a blast.
And then after that, Dunala will turn back to the Chult commander, who's been basically shit-talking his religion this entire time underneath his breath. And I almost called Dunala Ubtao. Dunala will look at this Chult commander.
Jeez, you asked me if I have a god complex?
Yeah.
I am
Dunala
God.
will look at this Chult commander as the explosion echoes across the battlefield. And he says to him very frankly, "You will begin to praise Ubtao when this battle is over. I will kill 1,000 more of these things if I must prove it to you. But if you say one more thing about what I believe or what you should believe, you will no longer be Chultan."
He doesn't even respond to you. Vale, you are up. You're on the center tower. The commander has left. You've got about a half a dozen other guards up here with you, all armed with bows and arrows. All that's left is to your left. You can see about maybe 20 or 30 feet away, trying to disentangle itself from the spikes, is one of the Girolans. Out across the pit is the Ankylosaur that was just struck by Dunala's blast. Straight across from you is Ubo, fighting.
What? Why you gotta bring gods into this?
Ubo.
Why you gotta bring gods into this?
Ubo is fighting.
Still matter is like hanging out, sipping an espresso,
Listen,
going.
we're all Ubtao on this glorious night.
Right.
All right.
Well, Ubo is currently engaged with both a Girolan and an Ankylosaur.
I have but only one question. Is there any type of siege weapon in our area? A ballista?
This camp is devoid of any siege weapons.
Dunala is a siege weapon, but I don't think you can shoot him like a ballista razor.
That, you don't know how much that sucks. Because I was seriously going to cast only one spell and go, all right, lads, you fire that ballista at the Ankylosaur, and it would have been the magic weapon.
Oh, man.
Spell. I would have.
That could have been awesome.
That could have been, but you ruined it. That's fine. All right, so... all right, I am going to cast a spell at the Ankylosaur, and it's going to be actually it's a second level spell. And Ubo, as you're fighting or at least cornered by these two individuals, it suddenly grows dark, which is really strange because in like this kind of area just around the Ankylosaur, it just starts getting dark like night. And just for a moment in this kind of like shaft of darkness, kind of like an anti-shaft of light, you just see this moon kind of just begin to go up. It's daytime, you don't know what the hell's going on, but you just see this moon come up, and suddenly just as the darkness begins to like fade into kind of like a lighted darkness. Is it night?
No.
That was daytime.
It's daytime.
That's what I thought. Drake, you silly bugger. As it's going in, like the leaves and stuff start to like shine with moonlight, even in the middle of the daytime, as it just suddenly begins to like raise up, almost like floating. And so I'm casting Moonbeam on the Ankylosaur.
What's the radius effect of that?
It's 5 feet, which is enough to put a 5-foot hole in the Ankylosaur.
All right. So what's that do?
Does 2d10. 2 to 10.
Is there a save or?
No. Yeah, there's probably a save.
I'm asking the wrong person. Note to self: when Mike casts spells, look them up.
It's never a save. They do just
Does Vale shout out Ubtao Cannon when he casts his Moonbeam?
Dies and shit. Yeah. But yes, I believe it's a dex save.
No, it's a con save.
What's dex?
I'm reading it.
Is
no! I believe you. I thought it was
no dodging a Moonbeam. Duh.
Does a silvery beam of pale light shines down 5-foot radius, 40-foot high, centered within range until the spell ends. Dim light fills cylinder when the creature enters the spell area for the first time. It's engulfed in ghostly flames. that cause searing pain and makes a Constitution saving throw or do 2d10 damage. On a failed save, half damage on a successful one.
That's
So-
it.
11.
Say again.
11.
That is not enough. 13 for me. Oh. All right. Well, that was. You know what? Would it be cool if I used a point of inspiration to re-roll that?
What are you re-rolling?
The 2d10 damage. I rolled a 1 and a 2. I would really like to not. I would really like to use a point of inspiration.
I will allow it.
Is that normally a
This-
thing?
No.
I'm going to allow it this one time as a divine favor from Ubtao.
That's great because we've been kissing up to that dude all session.
Oh
So,
man, Ubtao baby, Ubtao. I love it.
Exactly.
Marquis's plan is coming.
That was a 1 and a 7. All right, so 8 points. 8 points of radiant damage.
It's enough to drop it. What does it look like? How does the moonbeam actually... This thing had already taken quite a bit of damage. It got hit by one of Dunala's snake fireballs.
So call
So...
him Dune Bob because that's rad. I love that.
I called him...
Dune
started
Bob,
to-
High
Bob.
Priestess.
I started to call him Dunebala.
Dune Bob, put down your fat blue
Dune
ribbon.
Bob.
Got some
Hey,
fighting over
Dune Bob.
here.
My name is Doom Bob, and I serve Ubtao.
So what is this moonbeam? How does it destroy this ankylosaur?
So, hoping it would have actually been a massive, like, radiant damage thing, it actually kind of fizzles. It's not quite, like, super powerful, but it's just enough to, like, go through the top of the ankylosaur's head, kind of evaporate its brain, and just out the bottom of its jaw, and just enough to like cause it to like stumble to one side and then just kind of fall over. Not fall on the girdle-on or gridiron or four-arm monkey dude.
Ubo, you just see this ankylosaur that had taken a swing at you moments before, just engulfed in this light and just eliminated. And it actually causes a moment's hesitation from the Garrulon that's standing next to you as it kind of looks over at this thing that just happened. And then it looks back at you as it gives another roar. And it's going to take another 5 attacks at you. 4 fists of fury coming at you. Good lord. So that's an 11. That is a 14. That's an 11.
Ubo's just standing there flexing at this point, like.
I'm. Oh my gosh! Single digits on all 4 of these arm
I like to
attacks.
Imagine the gorilla.
All right, put that
The
one
Garrulon's
away.
just going like this, just all 4 arms, and with its last one, before it can even make a bite at you, it swings powerfully and slips in the mud, spinning it partway around, exposing itself to you. Nope, phrasing. Exposing a weak side to you. On a critical fail, you will be granted an opportunity attack against this Garrulon.
As he spreads his asshole for you, bro. Apparently.
Oh God! How far am I away from him, Jake?
He's right next to you. You were already engaged with him.
Then I'm gonna use my last three key points, and I'm gonna cast Burning Hands again, right next to him. See if I can set his ass on fire. What?
Go for it.
You gotta roll a deck save, but 14.
And are you? That's another 1.
So, okay.
These are my Tomb of Annihilation dice.
I like them.
That one's getting annihilated,
And
apparently.
my brand new, crystal clear set of dice that I can't seem to figure out how to show the camera.
There you go.
This failing
That's
me.
That's gonna be 16 fire damage, Jake. And then I'm out
fire.
of key.
I believe this is the one that was already a naked ape because of the first fireball attack.
So now he's a crispy critter.
As your fire just shoots across this thing, just immolating it. And what's the range on that? It's 15 feet, right?
Yeah, it's a 15-foot cone.
So you're there. Okay, that's too far. I was going to see if you could get the other one, too. That's all tangled up in the stuff, but he's too far away. This thing, as your fire just and dies down, it's what remained of its skin and bones is blackened, and your flame has cooked it to a crisp where it stands. It's partially turned away from you, its four fists out in motion as the rain, still falling, starts to chip away at the ash that was this Garrulon. You hear that as it's just dead where it stands. Rain, in moments, it begins to dissolve away. The ankylosaur that was near you is dead. There's one ankylosaur all by its lonesome on either position at the corners of the camp. One Garrulon zombie tangled in the spikes on the wall. Already, the members of the camp are concentrating their volleys of arrows on these creatures. And then you hear it, Ubo. As you're standing there, the rain just hitting your head, dripping down your face, as your hands are literally steaming from this flame that you just shot out. Just past you, from the edge of the jungle, you hear you hear the cracking of trees. As a massive zombie T-Rex comes charging right at you. It shows no sign of slowing as it bursts through the trees. And it is first going to, and I'm sure as hell not using that die. It is going to
you should.
try to bite you.
No, you should use the other die.
As it comes towards you, its head lowered, charging in. That is a 19 on the die.
You're a dick.
With a plus 10 to hit. That is a 29 to hit Ubo.
Yeah, so you got him.
How many hit points do you have left?
51.
So there's a chance. Oh, good lord, if I keep rolling like that. So the first two D12s are 10 total. Jeez. Another 2. So 12 plus 11 is 23. You take 30 points of damage as this T-Rex comes charging into you. It grabs... You all see this. As this thing comes out, it bites into Ubo. Grabs a hold of him in its jaws. Lifts up to its full height and begins to shake its head back and forth. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. I just realized it's almost 11 o'clock.
You know, Jake, I hate combat, but I liked that game.
I don't know, Jake. I think we can end this in 2, maybe 3 rounds.
I'll leave it to you. I mean, if you want to go another couple more rounds and see what happens, we can go. Or we can let you guys stew on this for a week.
If Vale would have got his ass out into the battlefield, this would have been no-brainer. Dunala kills it in 2 rounds.
Jake, I am more than happy to leave the cam on, but I have to be up in 5 hours.
We'll wrap it up here in just a couple moments.
Okay. Because, I mean, Ubo's pretty much incapacitated, so
Yeah, we'll just kill
Well,
it next round.
you're
Kill it
technically,
next session.
mechanically, Ubo is just taking 30 points of damage and is grappled.
Okay.
So, yeah,
With
we're going
no
to end
points.
there. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. It was kind of a different twist on the battle. Dunala kicked some ass with those fireballs. I will say one more thing. No, I'm going to save that. Never mind. I'm going to save that.
Say it.
Nope, I'm gonna save it. I'll tell
Man.
you because it only affects you. I'll tell you after. Because I'll let you stew on that as well. So yeah, we're stuck in the rain. All of the zombies except for a couple have been taken care of. Ubo has just been. It's got to be causing flashbacks for everybody for how Cole went by way of Allosaur. Yeah, so this is Chult of Personality, session 26 in the hazardous jungles of Chult. I want to say a huge thank you to Megan, Mike, Marquise, and Drake for just always bringing their A game. Whether that's being deep into their character or breaking the fourth wall, whatever it takes.
Or both.
Or twisting the rules to their advantage using inspiration to reroll damage dice.
To roll an 8.
Whatever the case, I absolutely love running this game for you guys. And I hope you're enjoying your time in Chult. I want to say a huge thank you to the several people that stopped by, hung out in the chat. We picked up a couple resubscriptions. So a huge thank you to What You Looking At, who just subscribed for 6 months. And for Castle Mac, who just re-upped on a subscription. And everybody who has subscribed, you can see their cool little castles, and some of them have gold stars for being longer subscribers. So huge thank you to everybody that stopped by tonight. It means a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. We will be back next Monday. And Marquise, remind me, is next Monday our last Monday game, or do we have one more after that?
That will be our last Monday game.
So next Monday is going to be the last Chult of Personality on Monday nights. Then we are going to take a bye week. And when we return at the beginning of September, we will be right here on this channel, same time, but on Sunday nights instead. Follow us on Twitter. Follow at MTDJake, at MThePiper, at Dice on Ice RPG, at RPG_construct, at Point to Inspire to find out what we're all up to, what's going on. Huge thank you to everybody again. I'm Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and as we end every session here, Amidjada and